There is a hidden history that's been deliberately obfuscated from the peoples of the world, and that's why I am on the trail of the Nephilim. The Genesis 6 narrative states that the Nephilim are on the earth in those days and also afterwards. If that's true, can we find evidence that corroborates this? I'm L.A. Marzulli. Join me as we go on the trail of the Nephilim. Our lead story today comes from the Jerusalem Post. Here's the headlines. Archaeologists uncover bodies of 76 children with hearts removed in Peru. Viewer discretion is advised for the rest of this show, and we'll get into that. But first, a word from our trusted sponsor, BioTrust. Did you know that the aging process starts as early as the age of 25? After that, you start to lose about 1% of your collagen supply every year. Folks, try this at-home test. I have, to see if you've got enough collagen. Pinch your skin. If it immediately bounces back, then you have enough collagen in your skin. If it doesn't bounce back or fold back immediately, then you might need a collagen supplement. Multi-Collagen helps rejuvenate your body from the inside out with 5 supercharged types of collagen your body needs for optimal health. Give it a try. Your health is your wealth after all. Taste, inspect, and judge risk-free for yourself. If it doesn't live up to your expectations, this is an incredible deal, ladies and gentlemen. You have a full 60 days to get a complete refund, no questions asked. Plus, you'll get 51% off, along with several free bonuses included at no extra cost. Go to the link below, healthwithla.com, healthwithla.com. Folks, I take it every day. So our lead story today comes from the Jerusalem Post, and we have to ask ourselves, what group of people get up in the morning and sacrifice 76 children with their hearts removed in Peru? I mean, what's going on with that? Why would they do that? Well, this is what the article says. The remains of 76 children were found by archaeologists at Pampa La Cruz in Peru last week with signs that they may have had their hearts removed in some sort of child sacrifice, according to Live Science. They were buried on an extended position with the feet towards the east. Over the last few years, archaeological excavation Pampa La Cruz revealed 323 possible child sacrifices, all of which showed the same signs of removed hearts. At another nearby site called Las Llamas, that's actually pronounced Las Llamas, 137 adults and children were also found in the same way. There's a shot of the view of the children, mass grave, very, very unsettling. And of course, it begs the question, why does a culture feel the need to sacrifice their own children? Who's demanding that? And we see this all over South America. It creeps up into the Aztecs, where they're doing the same thing. Is it from the same source? And that's why I find this so interesting. Not because it's hyperbole and it's gruesome, it's macabre in some ways. I understand that. But in my opinion, and this is why I'm so interested in it, it traces the footsteps of the dragon. And it seems like there's a migration up from Peru into the Aztec Empire. And we all know what happened there, where they would sacrifice. You know, Chichen Itza, I was supposed to be there in 2012. And at the last minute, the Lord stopped us. Everybody had words. Russ Dizdar had a word. Richard Grund had a word. I got a word. My daughter got a word. And then confirmation. So we never went. But at the top of that pyramid, they used to take victims and stretch them out and take an obsidian flint knife and cut them here, right below the sternum, reach in, take the heart, the beating heart, and show it to the poor lad that was being ritualistically sacrificed. When the conquistadors came and saw that inner temple was filled with human hearts. It was can you imagine? And of course, Chichen Itza shows the dragon undulating, the serpent undulating down that pyramid during the equinoxes. It's absolutely calculated. And I believe that there's a connection between what we see here in Peru and what happens in the Aztec Empire centuries later. Same guy, same guy. And what's even more interesting to me, in modernity, the cult of death in Mexico still embraces, now they're not doing this, but the cartels do. And the cartels ritualistically sacrifice people, but the media won't report it. Here's a shot of one of the mummies in Peru. This is behind a glass case in one of the areas that I explored and took pictures of. There are a lot of museums in Peru and they display all these objects. This is from the Chongos necropolis, right outside of Paracas, Peru. I've been there numerous times. You can see that this is more than likely, I would posit it's the carcass of a dog. I could be wrong on that. I forget how big the skull was. It clearly isn't human, but this is what you see at the Chongos necropolis. Here's another shot. This is a burial that we discovered. And this is actually the site where this skull here, and I'll show it to you real quick. This skull here was found in that tomb. Very shallow, and we did DNA testing on this. Came back H2E1, which is Eastern European. Notice the red hair. Notice the elongated skull. Notice the morphological differences in the skull, how the orbits are 25 to 30% larger. It may have larger brain capacity. Are you kidding me? That skull was found right in that area. And later on, we went back into the Chongos necropolis with our good friend Brian Forrester, and you can see that I saw this white object in the sand about 50 yards, and I go, wow, what's that? And Brian was looking at the tire tracks. I ran towards this skull and picked it up. Brian ran up the hill and found the grave where there were two more skulls found in it. There's a shot of yours truly at the Chongos necropolis. And there's Brian Forrester holding up two of them. That's another sign of the Chongos necropolis. That is called the water tank up above. Aptly named because, after all, it is a water tank. Very cryptic. But a lot of giants, allegedly, were found there. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that the very elongated, large Chongos skull that we've shown numerous times on this channel was found near the water tank. All right, I mean, that's basically it. There is a hidden history, folks, and that's why we're on the trail. Is this really from... Is this skull the result of cranial deformation, or is it the result of something that's genetic? In our film, DNA, in our DNA film, I should say, medical doctors, surgeons, all sorts of people come on the record, archaeologists, anthropologists, chiropractors, all stating that what we're looking at is something that is genetic. And that's what I believe, and that's why we're on the trail. Of course, mainstream science just dismisses it. They won't even look at our evidence, and we are sort of blacklisted because we engage in pseudoscience. And I've talked about this numerous times. So we go down, we collect 58 samples. We go through all the protocols where Mondo and I are dressed in lab suits provided by the Paleo DNA lab. They applauded us for our diligence in our protocols, in testing a DNA, acquiring a DNA samples. We change out of these lab suits for every skull that we examine. We go out of the room, strip off the old suit, put on a new lab suit, and walk in. I mean, you can't, in the field, you just can't do it any better than that. And then we went and got fresh powder or hair samples or tooth samples, and we put those, Chase Klodsky tagged and bagged everything immediately. Plus, we took our DNA samples. Guess what? One sample was contaminated with my DNA. It was immediately thrown out. So the question is this. If it was all contaminated, why did we get nuclear DNA? And of course, we did not get any nuclear DNA. Surely, if it was contaminated, we'd have fresh DNA, and nuclear DNA would be no problem. That's not the case. And why it rewrites history is because it shows that the Paracas people came from somewhere else. They did not originate in Peru. The haplogroups show an Eastern European, Baltic Sea, the Levant area, and this is why we're on the trail. Because, as I've said numerous times, there is a hidden history that has been deliberately obfuscated from the peoples of the world. So There's, once again, the Changos Necropolis, one of the most barren places I've ever been. We are going to Israel for the On the Trail of the Nephilim tour. That is October 8th to the 19th, 2023. Sign up. You can go to our website, lamarzulli.net, follow the links and sign up. We need about 20 people. I think we're about half filled right now, but we'd like to get like 30 or 40 people. We're going to places like Mount Hermon. That's where the Watcher Angels descended. And that Mount Hermon means the Mount of the Oath, where the fallen angels took this oath with Semyaza, their leader. And they agreed to do this thing, and they went down and took the women. And the contamination that we read about, the seed war erupts in Genesis 6. Absolutely erupts in Genesis 6. So we will be going to Hermon, also Gilgal Raphaim, the wheel, the tomb of the giants. And you can crawl down into that chamber and see what that's like for yourself. Mondo and I did it the last time we were there in 2019. I'm going to show you this. It's pretty cool. This is from our new film, number 4 in the series, The Coming UFO Invasion, Exposing the Dragon's Dark Secrets. There will be a pre-sale. We should wrap it up today. Gil and I will be up here working. We're down to like the last couple of passes. It's ready to go. So I think we'll meet. We'll be doing our, once it gets handed off and everything's in order and it's in duplication, that's when we'll do the pre-sale. We'll also put all 4 of the series together in one box set. So look for Christmas specials. We will be doing that. Honestly, folks, I think that number 4 is perhaps the most important film I've ever done, because it really does this. It exposes the deception of the prince of the power of the air, is what it does. Absolutely. And it shows that there's freedom when a person comes across the aisle to Jesus. He can break those years of abduction. And we have 4 witnesses that come forward. And it's not, this film is definitely for not, I would say, I would give it an R rating, not because of violence or nudity or anything like that, because the subject matter is very, very sobering, and it's really for mature audiences only. Anyway, folks, thanks so much for watching On the Trail of the Nephilim. I'll be back again next Tuesday with another episode. Remember, there is a hidden history that's been deliberately obfuscated from the peoples of the world, and that's why I am on the trail of the Nephilim. Thanks for watching. Something very dark and disturbing is happening. It is a global phenomenon that knows no boundaries. It adheres to no cultural mores, and the ones who are engaged in this nefarious activity are beyond reproach. People are being taken against their will. In the cover of darkness, in the dead of night, they are subjected to bizarre examinations that are often sexual in nature. These people are terrified, violated, confused, and with no place to turn to, as who would believe them? This is their story.
No heartbeat. Ultrasound, no baby. DNC, no fetal tissue. There's nothing. It was clean. He's like, ma'am, are you sure you were pregnant? I'm like, this is my doctor. You can call her. I was pregnant. He's like, you didn't bleed all night. You don't have, nothing came. I'm like, no, nothing came out of me.